Hi, everyone. I'm going to talk to you today about my thermography results. So, remember, thermography is not a diagnostic tool or test. It is a way in which you can see what's going on with your body well before you get diagnosed with something. And it also shows inflammatory areas in the body. Now, if you want to learn more about what thermography is and how it works, go back to my video. I'm going to link it here in the description. Watch that one first and then come back to this one because I am going to talk about my results in this one. I'm going to share my screen with you and I'm going to show you my results. And then I'm going to talk about what I am doing. So, number one, I am not giving you any medical advice here whatsoever. I am sharing my experience and educating on what thermography is. And I'm showing you what I am doing proactively and preventatively as a practitioner. I am a registered holistic nutritionist. I'm also a certified metabolic balance coach. I'm also certified in peptides and anti-aging. I'm also certified in endocrinology and hormones. Call it what you will. Everything that I do is really for proactive and prevention for the most part. And I'm pretty good at looking at situations and saying, okay, this person needs a little more of this, a little more of that in their diet, in their supplementation. Okay. Go follow my podcast as well. Sandy K Nutrition Health and Lifestyle Queen podcast, where you learn all about how to age better. Also, go follow me on all of my socials, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. So here's the interpretation and the summary. The patterns in this study are an indication of inflammation caused by dental infection, congestion in the bladder and kidney, and adrenal stress. Additionally, there are thermal changes that indicate an unbalanced musculoskeletal system. So basically, key organs are teeth, adrenal glands, overactive nervous system, kidneys, bladder, cardiovascular. I've got some spinal stuff going on. So that's what we saw in my report. Many things going on here. Number one, I'm a 54-year-old woman. I am kind of in the crux of the latter stages of perimenopause, or you can call it menopause. Technically, I guess I'm not in menopause if I'm still getting a period once a year or twice a year, once a year so far this year. So for me, there's it's multifactorial, let's say. Let's start with the teeth. I have a very old root canal from about 2005, 2006 that I've often wondered about, like, do I do anything with it if it's not causing me pain? Is it doing anything? I got this root canal after the birth of my second child. And I was like, a lot of things went wrong with my teeth after I gave birth to her, which is why, mamas, you got to have a very balanced nutritional profile before you get pregnant. Something I didn't know back in 2005. So even when I spoke with my dental surgeon about it, I asked the question, is there a way that you can actually see if there's a bacterial infection going on without pain? And he said, no, well, an x-ray won't show that. So there's a lot of research, and I encourage you to go and look into this if you have a root canal. Some might even say that this root canal might be how I started to develop thyroid disease, which came later. We can't really say that definitively. But one thing I do know is this is part of the equation. So I am looking at extracting it. And you have to be careful that whoever does extract it ensures that they take out those dead roots and they clean it up. And then you got to give it time to heal before you go and put an implant or something in there. So that's actually one factor that I am looking at. I'm not sure when I'm going to do this, but Next thing is the nervous system. What is something that women around menopause have going on? What they have going on is their ovaries are going out of commission, right? The ovaries will no longer produce the sex hormones, which puts way more stress and strain on your adrenal glands because your adrenal glands are going to have to take over all the work of making those sex hormones because the ovaries will no longer do it. So that puts a ton of strain on your adrenal glands as a perimenopausal, menopausal woman. So that's another factor. The other factor, which was really, really weird, was that my hands were bright red, which shows a lot of inflammation thermal patterns. Most of you who know and have been following me on Instagram know that I've been having issues with my wrist, which also began around the symptoms of menopause, coincidentally, right? So they actually saw thermal patterns on my fingertips. So my fingertips were bright red. And they even said in the report that that was odd. So these were a few findings. Lymphatic system, well, I don't know. I do dry brushing now and again. I got a rebounder at Christmas. I walk every day. I work out hard 2 or 3 times a week. So I do all the things that are great for my lymphatic system. My mother had lymphatic cancer. Is that a factor? Is there a genetic component there? Yeah. I mean, I do know a lot about my genetics, and I also know that I have a higher propensity for blood cancers, which your lymphatic system has a huge part in. So having that kind of blockage, maybe that's why. We don't know why, but it's there. It's showing in my thermography report. Maybe I'll go back to that the photographs to show you what it actually looked like. I think I might have shown it in the last video. I can't remember, but here, have a look. So you can see a lot of red here. Now, the other thing that I had been experiencing is migraine. So, migraine, a lot of people have migraine, but it's been kind of fast and furious. So, what are the causes of that? Is it musculoskeletal? Is it the blockages in the lymph, in the back of the neck? What's going on? Is it hormonal? So, the this is also why I recommend don't do just a breast thermography, do a whole body because you can look at the whole body and work with a practitioner who understands what's going on and kind of go, okay, well, where do I go from here? You might want to go to your medical doctor and say, hey, will you give me a scan of some sort to address this? Will you help me dig deeper in this issue because it coincides with this problem and this pain. So you just might have more leverage. I suggest that you bring in some of the medical studies that are behind thermography because a lot of Western medicine doctors don't even know what it is. So now the fun part. What am I doing? Because it's now, I think this weekend is going to be 4 weeks since I started this protocol. The number one thing I did, first thing, was I actually took off gel nails. So right now, what I have on my nails is a non-toxic. It's called Cure by London Town. In case if you want to look into it, it's just a hardener, just to help with my nail growth because there's a lot of damage after having gel nails. So my own nails, but a gel overlay for over 6 years. So I don't know if you'd be able to even see, maybe if I go close enough, you could see the line. That's my natural nail coming in. So yeah, I went and did that immediately. The second thing I did was I was curious about the EMF and why were my hands so thermogenic? Why were my hands so red? So the only thing I could think of was the inflammatory effects of always having my phone in my hand. So what could I do about that? I actually had it's nothing against them, but I don't think it works. The Aries EMF blocker. It's supposed to deflect EMF from your body from your devices. I changed it to another one called FAZUP, FAZUP. I think that's how you spell it. So I changed that. It's like a little antenna that's also supposed to deflect the EMFs. Then I went on a protocol for drainage. So I am really a big believer that going and buying a detox off the shelf from a box is really not a good idea. A lot of times, what ends up happening is if there's issues with detoxification pathways or the organs, like the kidneys, the liver, if there's issues there, you're just going to recirculate the toxins. So I use products. One of them is called Unda. It's a very old drainage series of remedies that you have to work with a practitioner who understands it. You start with Unda because Unda is like almost like opening up the portals. It's just making all your organs work better. And then I added in Cellcore as well for drainage. Next month, I plan to do a detox, but I'm preparing my body with drainage first. So that's another thing that I'm working on. The tooth I've already talked about. Now, bacteria. So this was interesting because where is this bacterial imbalance coming from? Is it coming from the tooth? Maybe. We can surmise that maybe it is. Um, but it's showing in my thermography report that I have some bacterial imbalances. I already have gut issues. I've talked about that many times. So, what I'm doing is I'm actually utilizing probiotics that are proliferative. So, what that means, and most people don't realize it, you can take a daily probiotic, but most strains are transient, which means they kind of go in there, they hang out there for a little while, but it doesn't help to proliferate good bacteria and good bacterial balance in the gut. They don't. So I'm taking two very specific strains along with a probiotic because I think the probiotic is what's helped me not have symptoms. Truly, it's like it keeps everything at bay so that you don't get SIBO or you don't get any kind of serious issue like diarrhea all the time and things like that. So I have added in, I'm going to do 3 months of Akkermansia. You can go look it up, Akkermansia, because Akkermansia has been shown to actually help alter and create a healthier gut environment. Same with L. reuteri. These are two probiotic strains that I'm taking every day. I'm going to take them for 3 months. Now, you can go and listen to my podcast about cholesterol. Just search up Sandy K cholesterol with Dr. William Davis. He talks a lot about L. reuteri. I actually tried to make my own yogurt. It was kind of a failure, but L. reuteri is a really amazing proliferative strain. If you can get that into your gut, get that into your diet, do it. So, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the nervous system. Oh, wait, before the nervous system, what I am also doing, so back to the whole probiotics and creating a better environment in my gut, is I'm also taking Metagenics Candibactin B. So, if you're a practitioner and you're watching this, you probably know that Metagenics has some great protocols that help with SIBO symptoms, let's just say. AR, Candibactin AR is more for yeast overgrowth, and BR is just more for just an undesirable bacterial overgrowth, which this report is saying came from the root canal or is coming from the root canal. I also have gut issues. So where is it coming from? We don't know, but I've also added that in as well as those proliferative probiotics that I mentioned. Now I'll talk about the nervous system. So the go-to for most practitioners is there are two adaptogenic herbs that are very commonly used: ashwagandha and rhodiola. Rhodiola is typically for individuals who are stressed and tired because it has that little peck up energy, but they support the adrenal glands. Ashwagandha, stressed and wired. And a lot of menopausal women are both. And so, even as a practitioner, I would recommend both if you have both symptoms. However, I don't feel that the rhodiola ashwagandha is always enough for, especially for a menopausal woman who, as I explained earlier, has way more strain on those adrenal glands as women are going through menopause, a big changeover. So, listen, our adrenal glands have always had a part in producing those sex hormones, but when it's like somebody has to take over all the work and they've lost their partner, which is the ovaries. So I have added in another Metagenics product. And by the way, I don't sell these products, I just use them. Is called Serenogen from Metagenics. I think it packs a little more punch as it relates to supporting those adrenal glands. And it's utilizing a lot of great Chinese herbs, like Chinese medicine. That's the whole premise behind it. So there you go. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to have to report back because there's a lot of things that I'm working on. And I always say health is not linear, wellness is not linear. So often we have to look at multiple factors, like what is not serving me anymore. And you can't just go, this is why I'm like, you can't just go and buy a detox box off the shelf and go, done, call it a day. Wellness takes work as we age, and we can age really, really well and age vibrantly. It's just that for some people, it might just be a little harder. And, people are like, well, how can you have all those things wrong with you? And like, first of all, these are not diagnoses. These are just patterns that were seen in my thermography report. So I just want to make that clear. So it's not like I'm sick or unwell or God, this is something that I really need to be stressed about. Some people get stressed out about health information. But what I am going to say is there's always going to be a solution. And once you help your body, you can reach homeostasis. You can reach that balance because stressing out about it is not going to help you. And knowledge is power. That's just the way I want to end this. Knowledge is power. So in this description, I'm going to put all the information that you need and feel free to reach out and definitely follow me and share this video.